Have you ever been nervous getting a brand shoot taken? Do you want to nail your next photo shoot so you can have amazing images for your social media content? Well, I am interviewing one of my favorite and most trusted experts in the photography field, one of my business buddies, and now someone I'm happy to call a friend, who can give you the best advice on how to take better images and nail your next brand shoot and feel and look amazing behind the camera. You're listening to the Social Hub podcast, a place where we give small brands the skills and know-how to master all their social media, digital, and content marketing. I'm your host, Stacey Cranich, mum, champagne drinker, and self-confessed karaoke queen. Join me in a journey of real conversations and meaningful messages that will help you grow in your business and life, so you can have the most epic version of both. If you have a big vision and are ready to shine, then grab a cuppa or a cocktail and listen in. Okay, welcome everybody to this episode of the Social Hub podcast. I'm super excited to introduce my guest speaker today. She is a lady that I have been, and I keep saying this a lot, I keep saying that I'm having people on that have been my internet friends for a while, but it's actually the truth. So Amanda is someone, we met Amanda, I think we were pretty much just starting our businesses or ramping them up around the same time.
Yeah.
And we connected on Instagram, and then you did a guest blog for me, and then I went to one of your workshops, and it's just kind of snowballed from there. But Amanda is a photographer, and she also has some amazing value to give around not just how to take great photos and edit them, but how to pose for your own photos. And that's going to form the basis of our interview today. And I know that when your workshop came up, Amanda, your posing workshop, I think I bought it as soon as I saw your Instagram story.
Yay.
Yeah. And it was one of the best experiences I've had in my business journey, to be honest, to go and learn how to do it properly, because I'm not comfortable in front of the camera and most people aren't. So that's why I'm so excited to talk to you about it today. So before I keep babbling on, can you just tell everyone who you are, a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yeah. Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me on, Stacey.
My pleasure.
Well, I'm a brand photographer based in Brisbane, and I've been a photographer for, I think it's been 3 years now. Before that, I was in corporate. So I was in finance, I've done project management, administration, and I was made redundant, and that really fueled the desire for myself to start my own business, because I didn't want to rely on anyone else to pay me money.
Yep.
And then, I used to have an online blog that I would take all the photos for. And so I just started taking photos. I bought my first DSLR camera because I was super bored at home, and everything kind of just grew from there. And really my two specialties are both product photography and personal branding photography. I love connecting and meeting other female entrepreneurs, in both Gold Coast and Brisbane area. And it's just so much fun to learn about what their goals are on the shoot. And really, I like to keep it very chilled and relaxed, because I know so many people get really nervous when they do photo shoots.
Yeah.
So I really try and make it a very chilled out vibe, and just something that isn't as big of a deal in your head as you make it out to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it totally makes sense.
And then, I started collaborating with one of my good girlfriends, Christine, on our posing ebook, and we introduced photography and posing workshops, which have been one of the most, I think, fulfilling activities that I have done in my business so far, because you actually get to have that one-on-one human connection, And it's the best feeling being able to meet people in real life that you meet on Instagram. You're like, when you say like your internet friends,
yeah.
It's so good when they become like real life friends. And I know it's just a very fulfilling exercise to do those.
Yeah, well, you know, in business, you go through this business journey with people often virtually.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you feel like you've covered all these milestones and highs and lows with people. And then when you finally meet them, it's like you've met a long lost friend.
Yeah. Oh, it's so
time.
like that.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier too, to like, it's not like you're meeting someone for the first time. It's like you kind of, you've known each other for so long, and it's so easy to create that relationship and take that friendship even further.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I can totally understand why those workshops would be fulfilling for you as a business owner, because everyone there just loves it and get like the buzz on the day is huge. And people that are so introverted and don't want to get out of their shell suddenly getting changed into all these different outfits and rocking it and telling people how they want to pose. And I think at one point, like I was lying on the floor at one point, and I would never do that.
Oh my God, I love that.
Cocktails in and on a stage or something. But yeah, so I definitely love that about the day. So can you expand for everyone a little bit, how did creating content and workshops around posing come about for you? Because it's not something I see a lot of people doing. So
no, that is a good question. So I mean, it really started when I met Christine. So I actually hired Christine for a personal branding consultation session for myself at the beginning of this year, because I felt like I really needed some direction in my business. And so we sat there for hours talking, and we eventually were like, oh, like we should collaborate together and do a photo shoot. So she shot me, I shot her, and I think then we kind of realized like posing was more of a pain point for people. I actually can't remember like the exact moment where we're like, oh, we should do an ebook and we should do workshops. But I think the idea kind of evolved from us working together on photo shoots. And then I think we also just started talking about it on Instagram. And like you said, not a lot of people, I guess, talk about posing as a pain point. I guess when people book in for a photographer, like a professional photo shoot, they will disclose to their photographer, I'm a bit nervous, like I've never done this before. I don't really know how to pose, so you're going to have to direct me. But they don't publicly say that this is a struggle for them.
No.
And I think the way that personal branding is going and the way Instagram's going, where people want to see others being more raw, more authentic, and they just want that more realness from people. I think personal branding and simply being yourself in a photo shoot is even more important now. And that really does stem down to A, how confident you are on camera, and B, the kind of poses that you allow your body to do in front of the camera. So I think it was just a natural evolution when I met Christine that we started talking about it, and we realized, oh, like this was our pain point. Like I didn't know how to pose in front of the camera years ago. Like I was, just all smiles, sitting in front of the laptop, and that was it for me. Whereas now I'm a lot more confident in, I don't need any props. I can just use what I'm wearing as a prop, or just move my body freely.
And that's the thing, most people, like I know I would stand there really rigidly.
Yeah.
They'd be like, just move your arm over here and hold your elbow or whatever. And I honestly would feel, like a Barbie doll, like how their elbows bend on a right angle.
That is a perfect way to describe it. Oh my God, yes.
And it's like, you kind of feel like you're doing this real gumpy smile. And so it is important, because particularly for business people and entrepreneurs, having that personal branded
imagery in your feed, particularly if you're a coach or a service-based business, I think personally for every business, but particularly personal branding photography, it's important. We're posting on social media sometimes every single day, and you need to have a consistent stream of images that you can rotate through. Otherwise, it's just the same one all the time, and it's not interesting for your audience. So
that's one of the things that I kind of cringe at seeing is when someone they haven't obviously thought out well enough their photo shoot where they've just got one outfit. Like they have a bunch of nice photos, but it's all one outfit and it all looks the same, and it becomes repetitive and it becomes boring to the audience. So that's when I think photo shoots take pre-planning, and it's a really good idea to put a bit of effort into, I guess, like, what you're going to wear, where you're going to shoot. I mean, on the day, you kind of go with the creative flow, but there is a lot of preparation that I think makes for a very successful shoot, so that you can rotate through that bank of images and not bore your audience. Otherwise, people, no matter what your message is or your caption, your image is the first thing that people see. And so if it doesn't draw them in, they probably won't read your caption. They'll just keep scrolling on by, which is not what we want.
No, 100%. And I mean, we've just been kind of just chatting along the way, but it kind of leads into, I was going to ask you, what are some of the biggest reasons you see people not nailing their poses, and then lead into what are some of your top posing tips? So
I think, I mean, one of it is confidence and not knowing how to move your body. So I guess when I photograph people and it's their first photo shoot, the one thing that I do notice between those people and the people who have had like 4 photo shoots under their belt, the people who are just starting out, they are rigid. They are afraid to flow. So it's like what you said, they become a bit of a Barbie doll where I'll have to
just
say,
bend at the joint.
Exactly. Like, so bend the elbow, move the arm, tilt your head, and it becomes kind of a robotic movement in a sense. Whereas my top tip, and this is what I try and do when I actually start my photo shoots with my clients, is I'll just say, move around. Like, you're gonna feel silly, you're gonna feel awkward pretty much no matter what pose you do. So you might as well just own it. But really just kind of moving back and forth, even like twirling around or dancing or something like that, just to get your body used to moving, because that's when you can loosen up. I find it can take sometimes half an hour for someone to loosen up on a photo shoot. And I've noticed that, and that's why I've kind of changed my approach when I started. So if someone is comfortable moving their body from the very beginning, they're going to feel a lot more confident, especially if you're shooting in a public place, because a lot of people close down when you're in public. And
100%.
It's so nerve-wracking. Even like, I still am a bit conscious of shooting in public, but it's also a mindset thing where it's like, no, this is for my business. I have to commit. I've paid for this photo shoot. Like, I'm gonna own it. And really, people are just curious. You whip out any kind of fancy camera, and people are just going to stare because you have a fancy camera.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a term for that. It's like when people slow down when there's a car accident.
Yeah.
Everyone just wants to stop and have a look at something.
People are just nosy. And they're probably like, oh, what are they doing? Like, and they secretly maybe wish, oh, I wish I was like doing a photo shoot. That looks fun.
Yeah. The funny thing is they're probably looking on going, oh, how awesome does that person look? And they're super confident. But inside, the person actually having the photos taken is going, please stop looking at me. I can't stand this. And it is a mindset thing, because you've got to step back and go, you know, oftentimes the way other people are seeing you is not the way you see yourself.
Oh my God, no. We are our own worst critics. Yeah. And that's the other thing I noticed too, is when clients say, oh, can we, like, my arm looks fat, or like my stomach, or I have like a double chin, I'll look at the photo. I'm like, what are you talking about, girl? Like, no, you don't. And we're very, very judgmental of ourselves. I mean, I'm the same with myself, mostly in regards to like how I pose my face. That's the first thing that I look at when I judge a photo of myself, is how have I pulled off my facial posing. But at the end of the day, people aren't going to notice like a dot on your arm or that your arm is positioned this way. They're not going to sit there and be like, oh, she really shouldn't have like positioned her arm like that. Like,
no, most people looking are not going to pick it up like that.
No. And I think I try and help people realize that during the shoot. And I have to tell a number of people, like, you are your own worst critic, so stop criticizing yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Otherwise you won't end up with any photos that you like, and then it just becomes a bit of a waste. So I think it is, part of it is preparation in terms of like outfits and location, but the other part is mindset and actually being confident in who you are as a person and what you look like, and dressing for your body type as well. I think that's really important too.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It's now, like, I'm 40 now, and I just think, you know what? I go for everywhere I go. I've got to be comfortable in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not just a photo shoot. Like, I can't go to a wedding or out for dinner or to a party and feel uncomfortable and be like, I'm wearing this jumpsuit and I can't sit down.
Yeah.
So then you're standing up all night. Like, it just doesn't work.
No. And I have had some clients where they're like, oh, someone told me to wear this, but I would never wear this. I'm like, then why are you wearing it? Wear what you're comfortable with. And we all have clothes in our closet that look nice and that we're comfortable wearing. So I think it's just taking the time out to explore our wardrobe, even if like you need a stylist on board, if you're not sure how to dress for your body type or what to wear. As soon as anyone asks me what to wear, I'm like, consider getting a stylist, because that's not my area of expertise. I'm like happy to offer advice on the day, but I find sometimes it can cut into the shooting time.
Yeah.
And I don't want my client to waste their time asking me, oh, should I wear this with this, or should I do this, or is this top good with these pair of pants? Like, these are all things that it's a really good idea to get sorted prior to a shoot, just so that for like professional photo shoots are an investment, and we always want you to make the most out of that investment and the time that you have with us.
Yeah, for sure. So the other thing, and this is what I loved about the workshop, is that when you're needing photos taken, oftentimes as a business owner, you're time poor, you're on a budget, all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's good to be able to have like a friend or a partner, or be out somewhere really cool and have your phone, because most of our phones take great photos these days.
Yeah.
And be able to direct someone to take a photo for you. What are some of the ways that people can maximize that if they've got someone there and they're like, oh, can you take this cool photo for me in front of this great backdrop, or whatever it is, friend, partner, child. Like, my kids are old enough to take a photo now, and it's like, I'm like, you need to get up on that chair and
I mean, one of the things that I like doing is you take the photo first, like without you in it, and you basically say to the person, can you just retake this exact same photo but with me in it?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that way they know exactly what to capture.
Because that's what you're envisioning it looking like.
Yeah, because I mean, your sister, husband, partner, whoever, most likely they're not going to be a professional photographer. And I know that this has been a struggle for many people, where they're like, oh, my boyfriend doesn't know how to take a photo of me. Like, it just never works. He just takes one photo and I look like shit.
Oh, honestly though, all credit to our partners, but most of the time you hand a male a camera and say, can you take a photo? And they take it. And for some reason it's like from the bottom angle and you can just see your chins and yeah,
it's not a good time.
No.
I mean, training them is a very good investment.
Absolutely.
But really taking it from eye level is always going to be kind of a go-to. So if you tell them, all right, when you take the photo, just bring the phone or camera to my eye level or just slightly below. Because a lot of people, they either take it too low or they take it too high. Yeah. And it can make you look either like you can get the double chin action and can not flatter you as much, or it can make you look quite short if you're taking from above. So usually, always eye level, But yeah, take the photo first yourself and then say, I'm just going to slot myself in. Just take the exact same photo for me.
Yeah.
And I mean, as you go on and they take more photos for you, they'll get a bit more confident, I guess, moving around you to get different angles. I mean, at the latest workshop, we actually had one of the girls and her husband come because she wanted to teach her husband how to take good photos of her.
I saw that. That was such a great idea. Like, yeah. I'm considering doing that for my next time I come to a workshop.
Yeah.
After seeing that, I was like, that's the best idea.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't think to kind of market it that way, but we realized that after talking to some people, so many people have that problem. And the photos that they took at the end of the workshop, they were incredible. Like, they did so well. Both Christine and I could say that we're totally confident that they could now go away and do their own photo shoots and take flattering photos of each other just because of the techniques that they learned at the workshop. It's just camera angles and posing is what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I picked up at the workshop that I went to, was that to know your best angle, and so that you can say to people, okay, no, you need to stand here, move the camera up or down. And that takes practice from you too. Like, you need to invest in taking a few practice shots with your partner or your friend first, and knowing what those angles are so that you can direct someone easily. Otherwise, if you don't know how to do it, after 5 attempts, you kind of go, oh, just don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of just give up and you look at the photos and you're like, oh, I got nothing done.
And then you walk away from this beautiful location and you go, oh, I wish I could have got a photo.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, it's such a waste. And that's the other thing too. It's being efficient when you're out and about and you want to take a photo, or even if you're doing like a DIY photo shoot, you don't want to be there for like an hour trying to take one photo.
Oh no.
Or even half an hour. You want to get it done and dusted in like 5-10 minutes. And so that's where, knowing those techniques is really going to help, and teaching your partner how to shoot you. And if you don't know, I find a lot of people, they don't know their good and bad sides. It's just about finding that good and bad side. So that's just shooting at different angles. And then you'll find the one that you like best. You're like, yep, my right side's my good side, apparently.
Absolutely. So then when it comes to picking a setting, so say you did have your partner or a friend or whoever you're taking with you, when it comes to picking a setting for a shoot, what are some of the ways that you can maximize that? Because obviously, like, if you picked a outdoor setting with a tree, then the lighting with the sun can play a part in that, or backdrops or props. Like, what are some of your tips around those sorts of things?
I mean, I think, like, personally, like, location and lighting can make or break your photo shoot. And so, I mean, I've had photo shoots where the lighting has been really difficult to work with, and it just doesn't, bad lighting, especially if you're in like an office space, you're inside, and it's like kind of just, you know, like house lighting, for example, it does not flatter. And you're going to get much better results if you're in a really nice place that has nice natural light coming through, because you don't want it, you want to avoid dark places. So I think scouting out your location prior to your photo shoot is definitely a good idea. And even taking a selfie or something while you're there, just to test out the lighting, and obviously locations that match your branding. So, I mean, for example, if your branding had the color pink in it, you wouldn't really go to a place that has like a blue wall or something like that. You want to find somewhere that will complement your branding, and vice versa. But I think, looking at the location that has enough diverse spaces. It depends how long you're shooting for, but say you're doing an hour photo shoot, you want to have a location that will give you enough photos for, like, I don't know, a month, 2 months, 3 months worth of content. And so if you're just in a location where there's one wall, you're like, yep, I really want to shoot there, but it's got one little nook of a nice location, if that makes sense, it may not be worth your time, because you're going to get one photo and it's not going to be efficient. So I think when you're looking for locations, look for locations where there's like Airbnbs, photo shoot locations, cafes that have other nice outdoor areas near them. that will allow you to change things up, allow you to change outfits so that you have a big range of content to work with. So I guess overall, avoid locations where they're not as interesting and you may only get 1 or 2 photos out of them, because it's a bit of a waste of time unless it's a spontaneous shoot and you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna grab a photo here and be done with it. But planned shoots, yeah, really like focus on location and lighting.
And the thing is, with all these Airbnbs around these days, a lot of them will allow you to hire the place out for a few hours.
Yeah. Oh,
so many, like so many great locations that are not, especially if budget is a concern, it's not overly expensive to hire some of them and take someone with you if you've got a good camera or can borrow one, and, you know, get good at directing people.
Yeah, exactly. And you're just going to get better photos. Like, I feel like if people do it right, they're going to get the best results.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's kind of last minute, or they haven't really planned things out, or they haven't scoured the location, or they've just picked like one cafe and like, yeah, I think I want to shoot here, but then we'll just see how it goes. And like, make sure that you have a location that's going to give you the best, like a good diverse amount of shots. And even if that means spending more money, it's worth it. Like, usually locations are anywhere from, say, 60 to 150 an hour, depending on the location where it is. But spending that little bit of extra money, it's going to be worth it for your shots.
And what about like props and things that people can use? Do you think people can over prop it up, or or, you know?
I mean, usually a lot of people on my shoots, they will have like their laptop, their phone.
Yeah.
They might have a couple of notebooks. They'll have a coffee cup, or we'll be at a cafe and they'll order a coffee or a donut or pastry or something like that. I think those props are enough. I try not to do too many, I guess, prop photos in the photo shoots, because I mean, I think the whole like sitting at a desk laptop photo, it's good to have those photos as part of your content bank, because we all work on a laptop. It's like it's us in our natural state, but I think it can be quite boring. And so the best way to bring out your personality is with no props, is to simply just be you with nothing else and just the location. So I think you probably can over prop it.
Yeah.
But take things that, even if it's like a bottle of champagne or confetti, something that will help to complement your personality, but also align with the goals of your photo shoot. It depends what goals you have, really, as to what props you might want to bring.
So what about editing? So people have taken their photos. So what sort of tips can you give for editing the images once they're taken?
I'm biased because I use presets all the time. I also sell them, but I could not live without Lightroom presets now. I mean, there are a heap of editing programs out there that people use, but I find Lightroom to be the absolute best. You have so many editing tools, both on the free version of Lightroom Mobile and Lightroom Desktop. But presets, I don't think I rarely edit without a preset now, because it's so quick and easy and the edit is already done for you. But if you are editing from scratch, I kind of just work down the editing features in Lightroom. So starting from your exposure to your contrast, shadows, I'm trying to picture the Lightroom sliders now. Like your saturation, your temperature and your tint, then your colors, your clarity, and just work down from there. If you're editing from scratch, as you move through your editing and you get better and better, your editing will evolve. So when I started, I used to overexpose everything. I put my highlights right up. I put my contrast right up. And now I barely touch my contrast. I put the highlights way down. I put it right down now. And so my editing style has changed a lot since I started, just because I've learned what I think looks better. But yeah, I guess like my top tip would be to use presets, because you don't really have to think about it. You can still tweak them to match your branding, and they're very easy and quick to tweak anyway.
And I can attest for that, because I probably could learn how to edit them, but I just don't really want to. Like,
Yeah,
I'm so busy doing all the other things I have to do in my business to have to learn how to do all that. And as soon as, even just then, like when you're talking about saturation, all this stuff, I'm like, oh my goodness, like I can't do this from scratch. I don't want to do it from scratch. So the presets are amazing. And I bought one of yours. I think it was your warm lifestyle one.
Yeah.
I think it was the day you bought it out, because I just loved it.
Yeah.
And then when I did the workshop, we got a few others as part of the workshop. And honestly, that is all I use.
Yeah.
It is honestly all I use. So yeah, anyone listening out there, it's so easy. Like all the adjustments are made for you, and it just makes your photos look so crisp. And I don't have to do anything. It's the easiest, the best investment I've made in my imagery, I can honestly say.
Yeah, like you said, like not everyone has time for it or the passion for it either. I mean, I sit there sometimes and just watch YouTube videos on editing that go for like 20 minutes a video, and I'll be
close that down in 30 seconds of that, I'd be done.
And yeah, I mean, it's not everyone wants to sit there and learn how to do it, and so presets will take that frustration out. But the other thing is like everyone wants a look that looks really professional and looks really cool, but they just can't quite hit the nail on the head with it. And then they get frustrated because they don't know how to edit. And I mean, different presets will suit different people, different branding. So it's about finding the right preset that will work for you and your photos, because not every preset will suit every type of photo. I like to have a collection of presets where you can kind of swap between them to see what looks best. But yeah, it takes out all the stress of editing your photos. I think if we are putting out photos on Instagram, they do need to be slightly edited. Otherwise they just look a bit dull. They don't have, sure, they have that realness to them, but other people could disagree with me here. But I think it just makes a photo pop even more by editing the photo.
Yeah, I think so. And filters just make it look murky these days. Like a filter doesn't make it look crisp. It takes the crispness out of a lot of your images, I think.
Yeah. Agreed.
and as far as, purchasing presets or whatever you're going to do, if you're listening and you decide that that's for you, I just kind of think that you need to play to your strengths as a business owner. And if one of your strengths is not editing images, then there are plenty of tools out there that you can download or buy that are going to make it easier for you. And if you can, why wouldn't you?
Yeah. It's like outsourcing your editing, except it's a digital product.
Yeah, 100%. So then just on the back of tools, what about like cameras? Because a lot of people just have their iPhone. Have you got any recommendations for the actual tool to take the images with?
I mean, a phone, I mean, if you have a DSLR camera, I would highly recommend to learn how to use it, just because it will 100% give you a better quality image than an iPhone. iPhones these days, I mean, I have the new iPhone 11 Pro. It takes a wicked photo. It's freaking awesome.
That is my next update.
But I still notice a difference in quality. Mainly it's in the detail and the colors compared to my camera. But I mean, I can't charge people and take photos on my iPhone. But phones will definitely do the trick. And what will take that photo to the next level is your editing. Like you'll take a photo and you're like, oh, it's a bit average. Apply the preset and you'll be like, damn, that's a good photo.
Yeah, for sure. So what would be your best piece of advice if someone out there is listening and is feeling camera shy but knows they need to get some brand images?
Yeah.
What is your best piece of advice to that person?
My first piece of advice, I mean, if you are wanting to hire it out to a professional photographer, which actually I would firstly advise to do instead of doing your own DIY shoot, because when you're on a shoot with us, we can make you feel comfortable, we can direct you really well, and that's where you start learning how to move by someone teaching you how to do it. And I guess in a sense giving you permission to move, to allow your body to flow. I mean, a lot of people do put photo shoots off because they are nervous. They don't want to do it, but they know that they have to have good branded images to actually be able to sell themselves. And so I think it's really biting the bullet, making that first step and just reaching out to a photographer whose style you love. And that's the other thing, it's finding a photographer who you're going to gel with, like energy wise, like you want them to kind of be on the same wavelength as you, and the style. So if someone's style is like bright and airy, but you want something that's very moody, you probably don't want to go with that photographer. So it's about finding out who you want to go with and just reaching out to them, send that email, find out more about their packages, and really just book it in. Then the photographer, hopefully, should be able to guide you through the process and give you advice on how to prepare. I like to link people to some YouTube videos that I have on posing, so they're free resources, and also the posing ebook that Christine and I have. And this will just get them ready to think about, oh, okay, I want to try this pose, or I want to try that. I just need to have these outfits ready. And then the rest is kind of, it happens on the day. And 100% of the time, the people who turn up nervous to the shoot, by the end of it, they're like, that wasn't so bad. That was actually really fun. And it's like, I know.
And you walk away when you've had a shoot like that and you actually have felt like you've had a bit of fun and it's been a good experience. You walk away feeling quite uplifted from that, because it is nervous going into it when you're not used to it. And to be able to walk away from a nervous experience feeling really good about it makes you more positive to go into it the next time.
Yeah.
So
100%.
yeah, I can definitely attest that having a professional there does absolutely help.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you would like to add that maybe we haven't touched on before we wrap up? Any last words you really need to get out?
I think we've actually covered everything. I guess like the main thing would just be prepare in advance, like have your outfits, your location set to go, and just allow yourself to have fun on the shoot. Like have fun with it, because if you're, actually the other thing would be A, get a good night's sleep the night before, and B, have a stress-free morning. Because if you turn up to your photo shoot stressed, that can come out on camera and you're just not going to be in the right mind frame to want to actually do photos.
Yeah.
So those would be my other 2 tips.
Definitely planning ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, making sure you leave home early.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't be late to your photo shoot.
Got petrol in the car.
Yep. Yeah, these are all things to do. And
you've got to drop the kids off, send them early to someone's house, maybe send them off before you put your makeup on and stuff so you can just chill.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
As a mum, that's definitely something I do. Like if I'm getting rid of my kids to go somewhere, I'll send them before I get ready. So I can just relax.
Yeah. Because that once you're in that relaxed state, you don't want to shift from that. You want to go into your photo shoot and be like, I'm here, I'm ready, and I'm ready to pose.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So how can people get in touch with you if they want to connect more with you after this?
The best way would just be Instagram, really. So my handle is Amanda Campeanu. I assume you might put that in the show notes or something.
I will definitely put that in the show notes, yes.
It's a hard one to spell. Or just
I have to double check it every time I tag you. I'll be honest, I have to.
I'll give you a hint. The best way to spell it is really the word like cam, so CAM, and then the word peanut, but without the T. And you just smush it. Yeah.
That's really cool. That's a great tip.
There you go.
That's so funny. All right. So Instagram, and I'll obviously put your website in the show notes as well. So
yeah, those are the 2 best places. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for jumping on my podcast and helping everyone out with some amazing tips for nailing their next brand shoot. I know that everyone would have got a lot out of it.
Thank you so much, Stacey. Oh, it was so good to chat.
Yeah. Thanks, doll.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Social Hub podcast. You can find the show notes for today's episode over at allthewsthesocialhubau.com/podcast. And if you want to join me in my community and continue the conversation, jump over to Facebook and join the Social Media 101 Facebook group. Until then, stay classy.